Make sure you click on the profiles. Make sure you follow us. We're up live on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter / Periscope, Tabs, of course, and something else. I think that's it. So,
Aloha.
hey, Pablo. Pablo is one of the guys. Yeah.
All right, right. Hey, how's it going?
How's my audio? Can you guys give us a thumbs up on audio? What's up, Yassine? Hey guys, if you're not subscribed to Al, that's his username.
I don't go live much anymore to be framed, but I appreciate it.
Is there a way for them to follow you on your profile through other avenues? Is there?
Yeah, it's just um, right now I'm focusing on my English teaching stuff, so I don't know how much this overlaps with that audience. But if you want to follow me on other things, Al Sensei. I know I've talked to Yassine on Clubhouse. If you want to follow me on Clubhouse at Al Sensei, and I'd love to catch you.
Hey, so before we move forward, tell us where you guys are watching from. What city, what state, what country? If you're on another planet, that's fine too. So before we get into him, because I want to spend time on him, we met organically. I don't even know when we met organically. At least 2 years.
Yeah, it was on scope sometime.
But we live on the same island, and we rarely get a chance to see each other. So either he's busy, I'm busy, and it's the truth is we're on a tiny little rock in the middle of the ocean, but it's so divided in the sense of like family life, business life, and so these moments are awesome. They have these moments.
Yeah, and in some sense, just the geography. Because I mean, it's if you're on if what we call town, in Honolulu, it's separate kind of from the other side of the island, right? So, but now, yeah,
Well, I used to live in Kailua, that's the windward side, and Al lived, in the other side of Honolulu, and so we always debate like, is it worth driving to the other side? So that's just what it is, and it's not that long, but
yeah,
it's
it's not that long.
but it's still a journey. Like it's just honestly, we're like, man, I don't want to drive over there. It's too far, and it's not that far, but
Right.
it's like because it doesn't make sense because it's like 13 miles, but it takes me 45 minutes sometimes, and it's like that's not even worth it. So,
Yeah.
hey Tim, Tim is one of my good friends now. He used to live in California.
Nice.
Now he's in Arkansas. We're going to talk about Al in just a second, but we were just talking for a good hour and a half, talking about Hawaii life, catching up, and what he's doing, what I'm doing. And I think one of the things I've always been intrigued about are people that live here that are not from here. And so we're just talking, and he's a family guy, I'm a family guy. Hey Joanne, good to see you. Hey Peter. So we got probably 7 to 10 minutes before my phone starts heating up. So we're gonna catch everything. So we're just talking. I want to do more of these in the future.
Is this the camera right here, sir?
That one.
Okay. Like, okay.
I got an extra bounce. So
Where should I?
you look at that little bugger right there. Or you can look over there and look cross. I mean, we can be cross-eyed. It don't matter. They still love us. You guys still love us, right? Just want to be sure. So
Still of me, I don't really go live much anymore, but appreciate everybody.
we're at this place called Island Brew. Bro, this coffee, I will say, I would rate it probably 8 or 9. And the what do we have? Guava scones.
Yeah, yeah. What is this called?
It was a guava something. It was so good. I'm gonna do a separate broadcast just to showcase that. I may do that. So, but anyways, Al is. I'm gonna promote the heck out of it. I know he's probably gonna like, dude, stop. But he is one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most, I would say, globally recognized people on live streaming. For those of you that follow him from Periscope, he's done teaching on English and even lived in Japanese and culture. I actually,
Joanne.
hey, Joanne, and he was talking about, we are talking about content and what does it take to keep an audience or to grow, whether it's for business or personal. And one of the things, I didn't tell you this, but I'm going to tell you now, we're live.
Uh-oh.
It's not so much the content, what I believe, that keeps us coming back, although the content is what got me into your broadcast. But at the end of the day, it's you. It's your personality. It's who you are. That's the reason why I keep coming back. Al could sell me water filters, and I probably would buy one. You know, so I think that's one of the unique things about having live streaming is that there's people showing better Hawaii than I do. You know, so hopefully they like my my ugly face better than Judy Riley out there in Lanai. I'm just kidding. But anyways, uh, Al has a launch. I'm not gonna try to pretend to know what it is. I just wrote it down,
I
but I'll let
appreciate
him
it. Yeah.
explain it. And he's got a book called English Fluency Power, and it's available on Amazon. Now, before you rush to Amazon to go buy it, that's not what we're about. We're not selling
Don't know really
books,
rush right now.
but I want him to share what he's doing and what's coming up in the next week or so. And so I'll turn over to Al, and you guys can kind of listen, and I'll try to watch comments.
Well, I don't know how much backstory I should give here, but just to one of the reasons that I haven't been going live that much was I started to shift my focus towards back to my English teaching. So, as you know, most of you know, I was in Japan for several years. And actually, how I started live streaming was teaching English, actually. So, it just happened to be that when I was in Tokyo, people started commenting. They started asking me about the city itself, and that's why I started my Al in Tokyo personality. But if you are a hardcore Al in Tokyo fan, you probably know that my alter ego online is Al Sensei, right? Sensei meaning teacher in Japanese. So I kind of went back to that side of things. So I've gone away from Al in Tokyo now, Al in Paradise, to
The best
focus
place.
on yeah,
Just kidding.
Alan Paradise because everywhere I go now, I can just be Alan Paradise. It'll always be Paradise.
He is
um,
paradise.
um, so I don't know how many people here are learning English or fortifying your English skills, but if you know anybody that is trying to work on their English fluency, their English is not their first language. That's what I'm focusing on now. Going back to that because I've already had something, but I'm kind of reviving that side of things. I do a podcast called the English 2.0 podcast, so that's one thing I've been doing every week now. St. Tokyo at Yokota, nice, yeah, Yokota Air Force Base. Yeah, I live down in Yokohama, kind of closer to Yokosuka Navy Base, but yeah, I've been to a few of the bases. Um, so so Al Sensei is now where I do a lot of things. So yeah, I just finished my first book called English Fluency Power, um, which is on Amazon, but that's not really the focus of the launch. It's going to be more to sell the ebook. And actually, the book is not really the important thing. It's going to be more of the actual course that goes along with it. So yeah, if you have anybody who is struggling with English or English fluency, if you want to send them to EnglishFluencyPower.com, that'd be
I
wonderful.
struggle with English. Can you teach me out?
Head to EnglishFluencyPower.com and I'll
Yeah.
hook you up. Great. Special history.
ESL, that's English. What does it stand for?
English as a second
Oh,
language.
English.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what ESL encompasses completely, but yeah, I mean, anyone who I would say again, my experience is mostly with Japanese learners of English, although it doesn't have to, you don't have to be Japanese, but certainly people who it's not for beginners, so it's for people who to study the language. Typically, I kind of compare it to my journey in learning Japanese, which a lot of us sign language, not sign language.
This sign language right
Yeah.
there, buddy boy. Howard. That's sign language.
Yeah.
Wow.
So people who you studied English for years in school. I studied Japanese for years in school, but even after years of study, you felt like I'm still not able to hold a conversation. I'm still stressed. I still have stress when I try to speak the language. Like if you're at that point, that's what I specialize in. That's what I try to help people with, is getting over
So,
that hump.
if I want to go to Japan when they open up, or they're not really open for travel, or is it the other way around?
Uh, yeah, I think there's still like quarantine rules for
So,
Japan.
if I want to travel and I want to get a crash course, can I get it from you to go? like I want to be able to go to the bathroom and I want to order the right sushi.
I'm a Japanese.
Yeah. Would you be able to do reverse like guys like me that
Yeah,
English is
absolutely,
okay?
absolutely.
That's good to know for
Yeah, if you want to learn Japanese, you can also. If you want, you can go to alantokyo.com, although it's kind of a dead site, but it's still there. But you can find, you can, if you want to hook up with me there, alantokyo.com. Got a lot of websites out.
we don't meet up often, but when we do, it's usually for a few hours. Yeah.
Yeah,
Unless you're in transit and it's like a quick hello. But um, if we were to shift back to Hawaii,
yeah.
you've been here. How long have you been here now?
3 years.
You've been
Can
here
you
three
believe it?
years. What are your takeaways or what are your if you had a top three things for people to experience when they come to Hawaii and from someone that's not from here, what would you say top three things for them to experience when they're here?
Type of things to experience. Um, that's interesting because what you always hear is that okay, well, living here is different from visiting here as a tourist, right? 3 years, yeah, it's been three. 2018. Uh, and which is true to some extent because when you live here, you don't necessarily do the parasailing and all that kind of stuff. It's just you know
I haven't done it.
um,
I won't pay for it. That's why.
all the fun stuff. Well,
Yeah.
well, I haven't done it, but I'll probably try it for sure. So there's all that, right? Um, that's yeah, that put me on the spot. Yeah, it's
Well, I put people on the spot because
yeah,
usually your first instinct is
yeah,
the right one, and
yeah,
so whether it's a crappy one, it's usually the right one. So
yeah. No, no, I think it's perfectly fine. Uh, yeah, there's like right now with COVID, yeah, I mean, there's still stuff that's closed or just starting to come back on. But I would say, it's uh, like it can be a little touristy, but I would say do a luau.
yeah, I agree. I still do luau's, but like I said, I don't pay for it. I go to, so yeah, that's
Do
good.
yeah, do a luau. Just because the shows are
As
really
a
good.
matter of fact, he's right. If you want to go to luau, you DM me. I'll charge you like half off. I'll charge you $20. I'll give you a luau. I won't put on the half naked clothes, but we will give you the Hawaiian experience. My wife cooks Hawaiian food, so
But
yeah.
for those who don't know, what is a luau?
Okay, so luau in touristy terms is when you go to an event where they show or teach you what the Native Hawaiians did as a community. Typically, when you go to luau, you experience what the Native Hawaiians did back in the day. It was always a community. It was a village thing. Like all the men and the boys did all the hunting. The women would do the gatherings, like kind of almost like caveman, if you will. I'm totally oversimplifying it, so all my native wives don't trip off. But basically, that's what it was. Everybody had a role. They came together and they celebrated, and that's a real simplified version. It details like you have like food that's cooked on the ground for 12 hours. You've got fish, fresh fish, um, you name it. And so, but at the heart of it, everybody came together. Whether it's cooking, celebrating, dancing, whatever. It's kind of like I think every culture has that, but I think Native Hawaiians are obviously there's a different dynamic just because we're in the middle of an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. We never have crazy weather; it's rare, and we're always blessed. Like there's no rush to go anywhere. Where are we going to go? You know, and culturally we learn how to adapt and get along because we have to. If I don't like Al and I have a beef with him, I got to figure it out sooner or later because I'm going to see him probably next month just because it's an island.
Right.
So, but anyway, that's a long answer. So, again, the third one is what would the third one be?
Well, yeah. So I'm pretty deep into the hula world. So even before I came, as you guys know, if you watch my channel, I used to live stream a lot of hula performances. And so a lot of people don't really know what authentic Hawaiian hula is, because what you see on in the Hollywood movies and TV is like the booty shaking and the coconut bra and all that stuff, which I can understand because that's what kind of attracts the eyeballs. That's more of actually a Tahitian style of dance, right?
Yeah.
And so if you want, well, I would suggest like watch a traditional or not. This, traditional is a little bit misleading because in actual, I'll call it authentic hula because actually authentic Hawaiian hula has um, two types. One is the traditional type, and the other is the more modern type. It's fluid.
Typical Hawaii spice has different food. Um, Not really.
Cosmic rose.
As far as garnishing and stuff, I mean, everything was based around what we had. So if you're talking about like seasoning or flavors, probably it was introduced. Obviously, it's chili pepper, salt, um, limu from the ocean. Something you could use it to season fish and different types of dishes.
Yeah, you got to try real poke.
Okay, yeah.
We personally like tamura. Tamura's.
Oh, tamura, yeah.
Yeah.
He said it right, tamuras. Ah, tamuras. So I have our mic. I'm not sure if it's working. So hopefully it is. The other day it wasn't working.
Yeah, Tamura is like it's actually like a liquor store, but they have like a poke thing in the back. Well, actually, a lot of places have it like that, where it's like a general store and then they have like a poke counter. So
I'm gonna say tamuras because I'm lazy, but tamuras they have pickled garlic. That's like they have the best pickled garlic. I know they all probably get it from the same probably vendor, but for some reason theirs is it's got a different texture and flavor. It's all from Japan. That pickled garlic that they sell, it's all from Japan. It's
that,
really good.
yeah, and they have of course fresh poke. But if you have to settle for the it's called previously frozen, right?
Yeah,
If you have to settle for that, actually, what we've found is the stuff at Don Quixote is not bad.
yeah,
The previously frozen. So Don Quixote is like kind of like grocery store.
and
Um,
they're open 24 hours.
yeah, and it's actually not bad. So if you go, it's reasonable. So if you have to get previously frozen, go to Don Quixote,
Yeah,
and it's not bad.
Don Quixote is good because they'll have the sashimi cuts that not everybody has. Um, we'll talk about that in just a second. The previously frozen.
Yeah,
But Don Quixote also has like the uni or the sea urchin. They have the abalone that a lot of the other grocery stores may not have. But let me talk about frozen. So previously frozen ahi is actually safer for people that are not accustomed to eating raw fish. And here's the reason why. If you eat fresh ahi that's just caught that day or even the day before, you run the risk of having parasites that your body's not used to. Like me, I eat raw fish like probably every day if I could. And so I'm used to if there are parasites, my body's like, hey, how you doing? It's good to see you. Whereas if you're eating for the first time, previously frozen is probably safer just because if there were parasites or viruses, it's already dead. Now it's not the same quality, obviously. It's different. Frozen ahi has a more like um, starchy texture when you cut into when you bite into it, versus fresh ahi. It's a more tender. And I'm gonna get really technical. It's kind of tender and it's got a little bit of a crunch to it versus a starchy texture. I'm probably not describing it right, but a friend of mine got a parasite that almost paralyzed. So parasites will come from improperly handled fish or not fresh fish or unsanitary conditions, or the person is just not used to eating raw foods. Like in Japan, it's not been an issue in Japan, if I'm not mistaken. Overall, we're just like mainland. I don't think. Would you say?
the rawness.
Yeah, like people having issues.
Oh no, I mean I don't hear about it so much.
Yeah, seems like it would be more watered down. Yes, it would be watered down if they don't drain it. So, for example, Foodland, they don't really drain their ahi when it's previously frozen because they're going to mix it with the sauce anyway. So it is watered down if you're going to make a straight shoyu poke, and you notice a difference. So yeah, you're right about that. Now, if you make a sauce, like a spicy ahi sauce, where it's not, I'm a purist when it comes to poke. I like very minimal sauce. I want to taste the fish. I don't want to taste the sauce. That's just my personal thing. We're gonna play a safe conversation because my phone usually around this time starts to like act up. So I think that's all the questions we answered.
Oh,
Did we miss any questions? I think we got them all. I'm scared to touch my phone.
I think so.
If you guys want to follow Al, you can follow him here, but go on to alsensei.com. Go to his website, and you can kind of see, you can kind of get updates. So, what's the best way for them to get updates on you and what you do? Facebook?
Well, that's where I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm focusing more on the English stuff now. So alsensei.com. You'll see the podcast. You'll see what I'm doing over there for the English 2.0 podcast. But if you want to just subscribe or follow for the heck of it, I'd appreciate it. Oh,
No, that was probably the mic. So you just never know. That's why I'm asking, because you just never know that there may be somebody in here, live or the replay, that may know somebody that
yeah,
needs his services.
yeah.
So,
Thank you, appreciate it. Also, just going back to hula for a second. So,
oh, yeah.
no, well, before COVID, every year they have the big, you know, competition or festival, whatever you want to call it, called the Merry Monarch Festival, which was canceled last year due to COVID. Obviously, it happens usually in April around Easter every year. However, this year they just postponed it a little bit, so it's actually recorded. They recorded it without an audience last week, and they're broadcasting it starting today. Actually, so if you want, it's like a 3-day thing. You can watch it today. That's what we're gonna do. So it's the biggest. It's like the Super Bowl of hula, pretty much. So if you want to, see the biggest event, it's actually today. So they have 3 days. The first day is what they call a Miss Aloha Hula. So that's the single female competition.
That's one that gets the most attention.
Yeah.
Singular person.
And then for the next two will be the groups. So they have what's called the kahiko, which is the traditional.
That's the.
Yeah.
I forgot how many days is it? I forgot
It's
already.
3 days. And then the awana, which is the more modern. And so that'll be the final day. So it's really good because then they have the group female and then the group male. And I think actually one of the most exciting things to watch is the group male couple.
Yeah.
Because they really like get intense.
Well, traditionally, hula primarily back in its origin was predominantly men, and so that's why. And I'm not. I gotta be careful how I deliver this, but if you're from Hawaii, you know what I'm talking about. It's no secret that there are obviously hula is a very masculine art form and dance and way of storytelling, but there's also a lot of men that do hula and they have feminine um, ways of delivering. And part of it is because culturally, there were some parts of culture in our past where it was some some people look down upon it differently. Now today it's a lot different, obviously, than what it was back then. But it's common to see uh, halaus with men that were acting a little bit more feminine just because of. But I went on a whole side tangent. But to go back to the rule, yeah, predominantly in the back of the day it was men, and now it's man, it's all over the world now. It's like Japan's got halaus that are doing better than some local halaus. That's actually where I grew up. That's where I'm from. Is Hilo. So I used to play in that stadium as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my old playground. My dad used to play tennis in that stadium. So
Yeah, we used to watch it on TV from Japan. And we saw it actually went to the last competition in 2019 before COVID. And yeah, we went there. Yeah,
you described it right because that is a Super Bowl of like hula, basically. World Championships, Super Bowl, you name it, the Mecca. Yeah. So, guys, we're going to end it now, and we're kind of going to end it at Rutgers because I think it's time to end it. My phone is really telling us it's time. So, make sure you guys follow him. If you guys have any questions, thank you for subscribing. For those that subscribe, see you subscribe. Make sure you're following him, and for the latest updates, alsensei.com. I know he's focusing more on that portion, but we look forward to doing more of these. So if you guys wanna follow me, and I will um, put something. I'll do a blog post. I want to share a little bit about what we did today. I got to take some pictures, make it look fancy. So, but guys, thank you for being here, and I'll have Al close this out, and I'll end it. You want to say your goodbye?
Thank you, everybody, for watching. It's always great to meet up with Gilo. I think our last one was at Bakery, right?
Oh yeah,
We're gonna do the Al and Gilo show or
yeah,
something like that. So I guess this could be the second edition.
yeah.
Who knows? Maybe that'll become a thing. We need to start a
What was it
podcast
called
or
again? I
something.
forget. The Al. There's a name to it, yeah.
Well, we have to go back and check out the archives and that.
Yeah.
So,
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. I got a
Alright.
text popping up.
all right, brass.
We'll see you guys there. Aloha.